But the interesting thing is that the reason why I love Vedanta, and it really puts things in perspective, and I have to say this because I don't want to bite too much into her time, is that it gives you a reality check, which nothing else does. And I have to say this because most of the astrologers, Jyotishis and all, they are so entrapped in, oh, let's look at the prediction, let's see they are, in my view, they are losing sight completely of things that are really sort of authentic. And it is in service. I mean, end of the day, Jyotish is in the service of the Vedas. So it is one of the limbs, but it is not the Vedas. So we have to keep reminding ourselves that. And the proof is in the pudding, which is so obvious by the election result, which I am still reeling with. I don't know about you, Swamini ji. What is your understanding? Because literally it is, the best of the finest of the Jyotishis had predicted, even down to the numbers and so on and so forth. And I think this is what I'm talking about, the reality check, but nothing of that kind has happened as we know. So anyway, I won't waffle on. So over to you, Swamini ji. And so I'm really grateful and absolutely pleased to have you here, close this entire conference. So over to you.
Thank you very much, Sonal. And congratulations on a successful conference.
Thank you.
And my best wishes to all the participants who've attended. I'm sure everyone has been enriched very, very deeply, and everyone has been blessed by the rishis, whom all of you aim to serve. Start with a prayer. Om Sada Shiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. The title of my talk is Understanding Oneself, God, and the World, 5 stages of devotion. From the time that one is born, one is trying to make sense of the world. And as we grow up, we are exposed to different frameworks. The biological framework, in response to who am I, is I am a sum total of the processes of the body, respiration, digestion, eating, evacuation. So when the parents look upon the child, one of the things they are saying, okay, how many times did the child do potty? So just to make sure that the child is fine. Then the psychological framework. So who am I? I am a sum total of one's thoughts, feelings, emotions, behavior, memories. The physical framework, in response to who am I? So this form is energy and a bunch of hydrocarbons, atoms and molecules that are constantly interacting with each other. The economic or cultural framework, in response to who am I, says, I am the one who makes money through my different pursuits. I contribute to the economy and to the culture. The Dharmika framework, in response to who am I am subject to laws of karma, doing karma, and experiencing one's karma phala, results of karma. And of course, our favorite astrological framework. So who am I? The response is I am the sum total of influences of nakshatra, graha, karakas, etc., on the person. For the vulture or the lion in the jungle, I am a predator and a food packet. So many, many perspectives on the person. And like the 6 blind men and the elephant, everyone has a unique perspective on what the elephant is. Everyone will argue that their perspective is the ultimate one, the right one. But what might be common through all these frameworks and perspectives is the individual person or the ahankara, the self concept, who is in search of God and doesn't quite know it. So, ahankara is a Sanskrit term. It refers to one's self concept, not necessarily pride or arrogance. In some contexts, it can mean that, but generally in Sanskrit, it is your self concept. Aham karoti iti ahankaraha. I do, therefore I am. And so when we talk about ahankara or self concept, I am what I have, I am what I do, I am what I experience, I am what other people think of me. I am separate from what I want in life. I am separate from God. And I heard this somewhere. EGO is edged God out. I thought it was very interesting. So now, since I'm functioning as the Ahankara, as an individual isolated from the total, I'm trying to make sense of the world, trying to connect. And I don't quite know it, but I have a search for the infallible. So I am looking for someone from childhood onwards who is capable of no defect, who is always knowledgeable, who is always powerful, who is always loving, who is always caring, who is always skillful, who can make me happy at all times, in all places, in all situations. Earlier, it was my mother. Then I found that she was not as powerful as I thought. So once she screamed, cockroach, cockroach, and my valiant father jumped to the rescue to kill the poor cockroach. And then I thought, oh, maybe my father is all powerful. But then I found that his moods keep shifting according to what he sees on the screen. His moods keep shifting according to what he hears the astrologers say in terms of the dasha and the dasha sandhi that he is going through. So he too is not as powerful as I thought. So as a child, I find that my ability to trust gets eroded slowly. People are inconsistent, they are subject to moods, illnesses, and of course the human condition. So I want someone to be there for me, take care of me, protect me, make me happy all the time. And so then my search shifts to looking for a best friend in school who can do no wrong until I find that the person does something wrong and I am betrayed. Then the search gets shifted to one's boyfriend, girlfriend, someone who can totally trust, whom you can trust. And in Jerry Maguire's words, someone who can complete him, okay, someone who will always be there. Then soon enough, as we have all experienced, one becomes bitter and angry and perhaps swears off all romantic relationships. But we never give up this search for the infallible. It continues in the search for a perfect partner, a perfect child. So we look at astrological predictions so that we can enter the operation theater at the right time. At least some people in India do this. But invariably, the doctor is delayed or the sanitizing process is taking a little while. So anyway, all variables. But our search for the perfect life, the perfect guru, even the perfect Jyotish continues. And how do we look upon it in the light of Vedanta? That our search for the infallible is really our search for Bhagavan. We don't quite know it because all the qualities that we are seeking, they are all sounding like descriptions of God, right? So every individual has a concept of God. And definitely, every individual will try to trace the cause of every situation to something or the other. Even the atheist or the agnostic will have an idea of God and dismiss that very concept of God. So, whether you dismiss it or not, Everyone has an idea of God. Why? Because a very deliberate, intelligent creation that we live in, right from a simple flower, the symmetry, the fragrance, the blooming, the laws that govern a simple flower, which then, of course, fructifies into a fruit, and the same thing applies to all flowers of that species, is phenomenal. And when we look at it, we know that nobody local has got the skills to replicate this. We may try in labs, but there are so many things that really make us in awe. So, how all the planets are held in orbit as they are hurtling away at breakneck speeds is just mind boggling. So, we know that it's not been created by a human being. And so, who else but Bhagwan can introduce himself? We can have some ideas, we can have some concepts, but it can only be verified if it is in line with the reality. So, the way one sees oneself, the way one sees the world is related to the way one understands Bhagwan. And we cannot stop short until we understand the equation that Tvam Asi. It is a Mahavakya, uh, Maha as in great, although it's really tiny, just three small words that you are referring to the equation that you, this individual, is equated to God. And there's a lot of understanding that goes into understanding this Mahavakya. So, given that a lot of people come to us as all of you as Jyotish Vedic astrologers, we study their charts, we rely on our intuition, and in some ways, I feel very happy and grateful that y'all are introducing the law of karma, the law of dharma, and Bhagavan to them directly or indirectly through the many pariharas that you suggest, through the many remedies that you suggest. So, still, we can look through the stages of devotion for this ahankara who feels isolated and lonely. So, stage one is pretty much where we all begin, and some of us might just get stuck over there, is the Nastika stage. So, I look at it as a stage, I also look at it as a group. So, Nastika is one who does not see the Veda as a means of knowledge. Buddhists would be included, atheists, agnostics, and the growing category all over the world of spiritual but not religious, SBNR. So, what is their worldview and how does it impact them psychologically? So, for the Nastikas, who is God? I don't know and I don't care. What is the world made up of? Because of my belief in science, perhaps the world came about because of the Big Bang. So perhaps the world is made up of matter and I have a materialistic framework. Consciousness, or whatever you all call it, it's probably an evolute of this matter. Who am I as a Nastika? I am a good person. I am ethical. I try to live the good life. How do I relate to the world? I do what I can for myself and others. Anyway, I have to die. How do I relate to the mind? My mind troubles me. I am equal to my mind and I do what I can. I have a lot of productivity apps. I try to maximize my life. And after all, I can only depend on myself. How do I know about God? I have read a few books. I have had many discussions and nobody gives me evidence. So, absence of evidence is evidence of absence. Okay. Or absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. But anyway, we can look at that later. How do I relate to God? As a Nastika, I refuse to believe in the idea because evidence of absence, I don't see God. And so I believe that God does not exist. Okay. So evidence of absence is not absence of evidence. Anyway, how do I relate to Vedanta? Maybe it's something that some people do, they have no better work to do in life. But some of it is interesting. If you want to talk about consciousness, I'm interested, but only if God is out of the picture. What is my challenge? Skepticism, cynicism, and a pride and arrogance in one's own logic and reason. What does Bhagavan Krishna have to say about the type of devotees? Chaturvidha bhajante mam jana sukriti norjuna arto jignyasurartharthi jnani cha bharata rishabha. So 7.16, Arjuna, the foremost in the clan of Bharata. So all these Sukritinaha, the ones who do a lot of actions related to dharma, they worship me and they are Chaturvidha, they are fourfold. Who are they? One, Artah, the one who is always in trouble, who is distressed. Second, Artharthi, the one who seeks security and pleasure and therefore worships me. Third, Jignyasu, the one who desires to know me. And surprise, surprise, the fourth type of devotee is Jnani, the wise one. So it's very likely that a devotee, a bhakta, shifts between stages or progressively moves through stages. So the next stage is that of the Artah. Artah is a devotee who prays to God when only in distress. Okay, so I would think a lot of people who come to y'all for some reprieve, some relief, are people in great distress related to finance or relationship or health, okay, or work. These are the major four baskets. So, who is God according to an Artha, a person in distress? God is the one who protects me from danger, who may save me and all that I don't want. How do I relate to God? Because I am fearful, so I believe that God can quickly get angry when I do the wrong things. According to me, because I'm distressed and I'm seeking help from God, I believe that He hands out reward and punishment. I have to constantly seek His forgiveness. He is judgmental, and I have to keep Him in my good books, or I want to be in His good books. And so, while relating to God, I swing from fear to helplessness. And sometimes I experience loving devotion when God gives me what I want. So, according to me, what is the world made up of? Situations that I have to be alert to because I better watch out. I'm a survivor. Situations could either help me or harm me. Who am I? What is my identity? I see myself as a survivor struggling with all the situations in life. I am small, I am insignificant, and life is so unpredictable, including the recent Indian elections. So I don't know how to deal with certain uncertainty. How can I relate to the world? I relate to the world with fear. For me, the world is like a battlefield. I have to constantly fend for myself. I have to constantly protect myself from danger. People who are given to adharma, I have to protect myself from enemies, diseases. I am just about learning to cope with the world. How do I relate to my mind? My mind and the world are problems. I don't trust easily. I feel anxious most of the time. And even if you give me some helpful information, like how my dasha is going on, I will just think of the worst possible consequence. So if only things would go my way, I would be peaceful. I have a non-stop chattering mind and I don't feel rested. How do I know about God? From the different stories that I have heard in childhood from different cultures. And I think of God as a human being, flawed, but at the same time very powerful. So I better keep him in good humor. How do I relate to Vedanta? As an Artaha, a person who prays to God only in distress. I have not heard about Vedanta or I don't really care for it because it's okay. Maybe some people it's helping. But right now, life is so difficult. I'm just about managing my life. And my challenge is I fear loss. I feel that I might be abandoned by my dear ones and God, and therefore I will keep praying so that I am not ever abandoned by God. So the person may get stuck at this stage. As you can see, the way you think of God and the way you think of yourself and the way you think of the world are so strongly correlated. So this person who is distressed and artaha may be stuck here or may move to the next stage, which is the artharthi. So who is this artharthi? Artharthi is the devotee who seeks security and pleasure and prosperity. So for me as an artharthi, the one who seeks security and pleasure, who is God? God is the one who answers all my prayers. He is all powerful and I am in awe of all his powers. So just like I seek help from everyone, including Amazon for home delivery, I am willing to seek help from God because he can help me fulfill my desires. But like others, he is a means to an end. What is the world made up of? Experiences that are conducive to me and experiences that are not so conducive. But I try to manipulate experiences so that my kind of experiences happen. Who am I? My identity is an achiever, the one who wants Artha, Kama, Dharma. I have confidence in my ability to make things happen. And so my identity as a karta, as an achiever, as a doer is very strong. Naturally, when I do certain things and it doesn't work out, then I crash quite badly as well. And then I just up the ante. I just start to pray a lot more. And I'm always on the lookout for more mantras, perhaps more tirtha kshetras, perhaps more sadhana to be done so that I want to maximize all experiences in my life. So obviously, I am also a bhokta, an experiencer. That's my identity because I define myself by all the kind of things that happen to me. How do I relate to the world? The world is full of experiences, good, bad, and ugly. I am trying to maximize my experiences in the field of health, family, work, finances, and so on. So I am not only focused on life insurance here, but I want to secure my place in Swarga also. So I am willing to do anything so that I have a comfortable life in the hereafter. How do I relate to the body mind? So, as an Artharthi, the one who seeks security and pleasure, when I get what I want, I'm really happy. And when I don't get what I want, I'm very sad. So sometimes I get really frustrated with my mind because it doesn't behave according to what I want, but I pray. How do I know about God? I read, I watch a lot of assorted videos by different gurus. Perhaps I've had some religious exposure. I have my own thinking around it. I value logic and reason. And I definitely believe that God has created this creation quite intelligently. How do I relate to God? I'm afraid of failure. And so uh, I am always anxious and I want to try and do a lot more devotional actions by praying to Him because I also fear that a lot of things happen due to my own papa. How do I relate to Vedanta? For me, just like God is a means to an end, Vedanta is also a means to an end. I want to learn how to be effective so that it gives me power to achieve what I want. So I am interested in more of mantras. I'm interested in more yatras. Any shortcut method that can make me phenomenally powerful, that's what I want. What is my challenge? Although I'm a devotee of Bhagwan, my challenge is that I turn away from God when my desires are not fulfilled or I have a false sense of arrogance. So I don't really care for God, like out of sight, out of mind, as long as I'm getting what I want. But then If there is grace, if there is enough punya, and I get exposed to the Gita, Bhagavan says, Avyaktam vyaktimapannam bhavyante mama buddhayaha param bhavamajanantaha mamavyayamanuttama. So earlier I was so caught up with which deity to worship, which mantras to chant, and it was all very feverish. But here Bhagwan is giving me a reality check. He's saying, you know, there are some people, param bhavam ajanantaha, they do not know my nature. They look upon me, who is avyayam, who doesn't have a form, who is avyaktam, who is changeless, as they reduce me to a form, they reduce me to someone who is changing, and they are just interested in what they want, which is pretty much kama and artha. And so, therefore, what happens? Naham prakasha sarvasya yogamaya samavritah mudhoyam nabhijanati loko mamajam avyayam. So 7.24 and 25. So all these people, although on the face of it, they are very religious, on the face of it, they are spiritual, but they do not want, and perhaps they need to recognize that I am avyayam and I am avyaktam. I am changeless and I am unborn, which is really referring to the Swarupa of Bhagavan. So it's like in Marathi, we have a nice term called Kama Purti Mama. Okay. So it is a word to refer. Mama means mother's brother. And Kama Purti means you are my uncle as long as you help me fulfill whatever is my work. Then after that, I don't really care for you. So for a lot of us, maybe we may be devotional, but we are very transactional when it comes to relating to God. And when the Artharthi gets a little exposure to Gita, or perhaps starts inquiring and says, you know what, I really want to change my relationship with God. So, how else but learn from what Bhagwan himself says in the Gita? Of course, there are many other texts in Vedanta, which is an oral tradition largely. So I want to know God. I'm a little more curious. It's not enough for me to just get and keep getting and keep getting blessed. I also want to know more about God. And so we go to the next group of a devotee, which is a Jignyasu, the person who wants to know the reality of God. So Nyatum Ichuhu, the one who wants to know the truth. So here the Jignyasu, the one who wants to know the truth, wants to know God. So for him or her, Tat Tvam Asi, I want to know what that Tat is. Tat is a pronoun for that, meaning which seems remote, that is God. I want to know more. So then for the Jignyasu who has some exposure to Vedanta, who is God? God is the cosmic order. The entire material that we experience, we observe, including this body, mind, Bhagwan is this material. Bhagwan is also the intelligence in which, by which all of this has been put together. So very beautifully, Bhagwan says in the Gita, Ahamatma Gudakeshaha Sarvabhutashayasthitaha Ahamadishcha Madhyancha Bhutanamanta Evacha. So telling Arjuna, Aham, I am the Atma, meaning I am that who sarva bhutashaya sthitaha, who is present in all the beings without an exception. So I am that isness that is always present, which cannot be experienced, but without it, no experience is possible. Aham Adi. So I am that from which everything has manifested. I am Madhyam. I am that which sustains everything, doesn't run away and says, okay, maybe some other babysitter will come in. So I'm fully present. And I am Antaha. I am that into which everything resolves. Of course, from a Puranic standpoint, we might refer to these as Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. So we look upon all the deities as heads of departments, or rather like organs in the body. So we cannot say the liver is more important than the heart or the lungs. All the organs are important, all processes that are there in the cosmic order are important, all heads of departments are important. But the beauty is we can invoke the grace of Bhagwan by just invoking one deity. I remember one morning in Kashi, Varanasi, where I heard this very beautiful Drupad, and I just want to sing it for y'all. Um, it was morning, some dapple sunlight, and there was this wonderful Drupad singer who had invited us, and he sang this. Shiva Adya Madhya Anta Shiva Adya Madhya Anta Shiva Adya Madhya Anta. It's a very beautiful melody, Drupad, and very absorbing. And it pretty much says what is there in the Gita, that all that is here is Shiva, auspiciousness, or all that is here is Vasudevam Sarvamiti. So, beginning, middle, end. Rahukala, yeah, that's also is included. So, according to a Jignyasu, what is the world made up of? This person who wants to know God rather than just look upon God or Bhagwan as an accomplice. So, I see the world as a manifestation of Bhagwan. Earlier, I divided the world into two neat categories, inert and conscious. Then I came across Mundaka Upanishad that blew my mind. So, beautiful everyday examples. From soil that is inert come different kinds of plants, which are obviously conscious. So, from what is inert come alive these seedlings and saplings and plants and trees, all vibrant, living, what we might also refer to as an ecosystem. So, is the plant conscious? Yes, but it has come from something inert. Can you strictly call it conscious or inert or a combination? Then the mind becomes a bit fuzzy. And if that's not all, from a conscious person come things that are inert. So, kesha lomani, your hair and nails. So they are inert parts of the body, seemingly, and that's why when you go for a haircut, although the hair is very much a part of your appearance, we never say, I'm going for a hair surgery today. I'm going for a haircut because I can cut this aspect. And of course, it may contribute to my appearance, or I can do all this fancy nail art because from what is conscious, something inert can come. So then our category of inert and conscious just goes for a toss, and we see that God pervades both the inert and conscious. So, as a Jignyasu, who am I? Whatever be my profession, I am a manifestation of Bhagwan. The material is me, Material is Bhagwan, and the intelligence, the processes by which the cells figure out just how much to absorb. You are pumping in calcium and vitamin D, and how much to absorb and how much to give away. The cells just know, and they didn't go to any fancy university to learn all of this. So, the intelligence, the material, I am a manifestation of God. I see that moksha is my ultimate pursuit. So, freedom from a sense of bondage. I see that my experiences come and go, whatever profession I am in, and they don't give me the kind of happiness that they used to. I become quite dependent on experiences, but I am looking to find who is the one that is in and through each and every experience. And in all my seeking of any kind of knowledge, I find that there are moments when I am free from seeking. So when I just look up at the sky and it's sunset and I find that the sky is a riot of colors, I don't wish for the sky to be any different. I'm just so awestruck by the beauty. And I see that when I don't want, I am in harmony with the object of my experience, which is this riot of colors. And in that moment when I am not seeking, I am free, I am happy. And I hope to replicate these moments. Every sunset time, I look up at the sky and I find that every sunset doesn't make me uniformly happy. So, as a Jignyasu, I try a lot of things. I try different methods, including Jyotish, but I find that at the end of it, anyway, it's death. So, as Bhagwan says, this human condition, it doesn't have a parihara. Okay, apariharye, this human condition, you will go through these different stages. Of course, you can enhance your luck and your destiny and all of that, but at the end, we what we chant, when we carry the dead body, Ram Naam Satya Hai. That's all. So the Jignasu understands that what I am seeking is my nature, which is Ananda, and that through some grace, I get that the different experiences of Ananda, happiness, fullness that I have, actually, they are pointing to my very nature. So, my general attitude to life as someone who is a Vedanta student, as a Jignasu wanting to know the truth, is that I am becoming more self aware. I'm becoming more aware of Bhagwan's presence in my life. I am becoming a lot more objective. How do I relate to the world? Through laws of nature, through dharma. Dharma is a manifestation of Bhagwan, and that is my framework for functioning. So I see the world, I see every day as my papa punya unfolding, my karma phala unfolding, and therefore I do not live in threat of fear. I relate to everyone as a nimitta. So nimitta matram bhava savyasachin, what Bhagwan tells Arjuna, that just allow yourself to be an instrument. So just like the flute allows itself to be played and therefore produces great music, doesn't have raga dveshas. The flute doesn't say, you know what, I just want to play, like I just want Western classical to be played on me. I don't want folk music to be played on me. No such raga dveshas. So whatever situation presents itself, I offer everything unto Bhagwan. I live a life of contribution. I perform my swadharma. How do I relate to the mind? To me, my mind is in psychological order because it is pervaded by Bhagwan. And so I am in harmony with all the laws of psychology and laws of karma. Whatever law you call, you name it, the mind is pervaded by all of that. And I am more than the mind. So for me, the mind is an antakarana, an inner instrument, and I don't get phased by ups and downs. I am largely centered. I have made peace with my past, with my family, with my partner, with my children, with my equation with money, sexuality, my equation with food. So I am at peace. And all these different situations of life, the way I have processed it in the light of Vedanta, they are all preparing my mind in the context of Antakarna Shuddhi. being free from raga, dveshas, cravings and aversions, and also antakarna naischalyam. I have a very, very clear, steady mind. All my effort is focused on knowing Bhagwan. How do I know about God? Through the Shastra. And I develop more and more Shraddha in the Shastra because the Shastra tells me things I could not have figured out by myself. And so I have a humility that comes with learning. So, how do I relate to God? I see that I am divine, I am sacred, my understanding of God grows. There are many moments of insight in terms of understanding my own Swarupa. Then, how do I relate to Vedanta? I have growing Shraddha in the Guru. It becomes an equal and important pursuit alongside earning money, having pleasure, and so on. And just like I devote 40 to 60 hours at work, I devote a few hours every week to this Vedanta pursuit. What is my challenge as a Jignyasu, this one who wants to know certain obstacles in trying to understand myself? And so, what does Bhagwan say? Probably another 5 minutes. He speaks about the fourth type of devotee, the Jnani. And he says, amongst the different devotees, Tesham Jnani Nitya Yuktaha Eka Bhaktir Vishishyate Priyo Hinyani Notyartham Aham Samama Priyaha. So, amongst all these devotees, the Jnani, the wise person, is very dear to me and I am dear to him. My God, Bhagwan is sounding very partial. So, I'm not sure if I want to relate to this Bhagwan. No, no. He's saying that all are dear to me, but the Jnani, the wise person, has discovered that he or she is me. And so, through all the prayers, through all the pursuits, through all the chanting, through all the astrological readings, through all the prashnam, through all the prayers to one's Kula Devata, Grama Devata, Ishta Devata, to one's Guru, what one has understood is all that is here is Bhagwan, is Ishvara. So the Jnani has traveled through the three stages of bhakti. Initially, the Jnani was perhaps a Nastika. I don't care for God, I don't know. And then with some exposure, started to worship a form. So Eka Bhakti. Eka Rupa Bhakti, where I look upon Ganapati. Ganapati has helped me so much. Okay, I pray to him. Then if I become dogmatic about it, I will say Ganapati is superior to all other devatas. But if I progress in my stage of devotion, then I will move to Aneka Rupa Bhakti, that I am able to relate to other devatas as well. And Ganapati is not somebody who's sitting in one temple and only related to a mantra, but I see the manifestation of Ganapati everywhere. So for me, the world is a manifestation of Ganapati, Bhagwan, or whoever is your Ishta Devata. Then what is the Swarupa of this? Because Ganapati is all in the context of a name and a function in relation to the world. But what is it about Ganapati or me that is unchanging? And that is the Jnani's Bhakti, which is Arupa Bhakti. Recognizing that all that is here is Arupa, it is formless, it is existence, and it is the basis of all beings. And so the Jnani being the last form of Bhaktaha, devotee, for the Jnani, who is God? Oh, God is Bhagwan. I as in the form, lives in Ishvara Srishti. And so I'm in harmony with everything at the same time. The pure being that is Ishvara is the same as me, Achala, Ajaha, unborn, unmanifest, Ananta, limitless. What is the world? The world is Ishvara, the world is Atma, me. Who am I? Satyam Jnanam Anantam Brahman. I'm one without a second. How do I relate to the mind? It is another form that appears in consciousness and awareness. So the mind, the body, and all other forms occur in me, Atma. How do I know about Bhagwan? I know through direct recognition. So Bhagwan says, Yo mam pashyati sarvatra sarvam cha mai pashyati tasyaham na pranashyami sacha me na pranashyati. So here is this wise person who is a devotee, who sees me in all beings, who sees all beings in me, And for that being, for that jnani, for that devotee, I am not remote and that person is not remote to me. So the person is Atmani eva Atmana tushtaha. So the what we call as I has expanded to include the entire world, multiverses, and I stands for the formless, the limitless. So just concluding with a anecdote. On the weekend, the father of a 7-year-old child decided to spend quality time with his son. He said, "Why don't you bring your puzzles out? Let's solve some puzzles." So the puzzle was of the world and it's different countries, with 27 pieces. The father genuinely tried, but he could not put it together. The son was doing another puzzle and was watching. So the father tells the son, "Can you help me? I'm not able to do this." And the son says, "Oh, it's so simple." He just turns all the pieces upside down and he assembles a person. Okay. And then he turns it around and he finds that the world has also come together. And so the son says, when you put the person together and then you turn it around, the world comes together because the world is a manifestation of God. And so when you see the person as pervaded by Bhagwan, then you see that the entire world is also pervaded by Bhagwan. And the Ahankara has then dissolved in the sense that it is still a functional uniform that you use, but you recognize you were always sacred, you were always divine, and that in recognizing the world as a form of Ishvara, Jagat Darshanam is equal to Ishvara Darshanam. And in seeing Ishvara, which is in the entire world of names and forms, including this body mind, Ishvara Darshanam is Atma Darshanam. There is no difference. There were never two or three, there was only one. That was the basis of all names and forms. So, with that, I wish all of you the very best for all your pursuits and particularly your Vedanga and Vedanta pursuit. Om Tat Sat.
Thank you very much, Swamini ji. Absolutely fantastic. And really, the samatvam is what we need from, this kind of talk, because otherwise we are like too caught up, like the fish in the fish bowl. We can't see anything beyond the bowl. So thank you ever so much. Namaskaram to you.
Sonal, I just want to say how grateful I am. And I really enjoyed the final talk from Swamini. Swamini Ji, thank you very much. It was really great at rounding off a very rich few days. Yeah.
Yeah, welcome, Rosemary. Thank you very much. So yeah, Swamini ji, it is, it's like the whole Jivan has no parihara. We do treat it as if everything has a solution. But and then we'll say, well, if nothing has a solution, then it's our prarabdha. So there's like a whole, what do you call, the logic is so ingrained in a certain way of thinking that we are just not willing to let go of it. At least I speak for myself, it is very difficult. So what do you have to say to that? I mean, what's your advice really?
Yeah, so whichever profession one has, and here, one is a Jyotish, I think it might be helpful to articulate what is my goal. Like, when will I feel that my journey as a Jyotish is complete? And I don't mean that, please give up Jyotish. Please don't do that. But what is that place I have to reach where I am willing to recognize that I am enough as a Jyotish? Because until that journey of achievement is complete for me, the seeker cannot be born. Because all the knowledge that I gain because I'm furiously trying to refine my professional status. So everything is in service of refining my professional status, right? And so I will pick and choose, like the buffet is all laid out, all very nice. If there's anything on karma, if there's anything on prarabdha, that I'll pick and choose. The other stuff, Brahman, you please wait. Okay, not yet. Okay. So I would just say that, we can apply karma yoga to our professional life and learn to offer all karma unto Bhagwan, all my readings, all my predictions. They are flowers at your feet. What I have learned from you through different sources, I offer unto you. That is samatvam. There are times when my prediction, especially regarding Indian elections, went for a toss. Okay, if that is the case. And I'm okay with disappointment. And whatever results that come to me regarding my predictions, regarding whatever is unfolding in my life, I look upon it as prasada, not more, not less. So just like we receive prasada at the temple, we don't quite know sometimes what's going to come. And we can't, tell the Pandit, I want the apple or I want the tirtha. So you may
No,
get
I have done that. No, I have.
so even for prasada, if we are doing that, then we want to be able to be more gracious in accepting whatever comes our way.
Yeah.
Because this prasada buddhi is not for only the instance of the altar. That every day karma is unfolding to me and it's coming as prasada, waves of it. Lot of punya, lot of papa is coming my way. And all of it is prasada. Sometimes it may be bitter, sometimes I don't get anything. And I still recognize that all of this is pervaded by Bhagwan. And the more I apply it every day, it's not a unique technique, it's not a mantra. I find that I will develop a lot more samatvam. So Bhagwan Krishna did not do an astrological reading for Arjuna on the battlefield. So he could, because Arjuna said, even if I get Swarga, you make me the king of all these three worlds, it's still not enough for me. And so Bhagwan Krishna didn't say, wait, hold on. Tell me what time were you born? Tell me what was your place of birth? Okay, what is your Atma Karaka? I will predict, what is your victory? No, he asked a question, what is moksha? What is Shreyas? He said, what is my dharma? He could have done astrological reading. He did not. He did not give a mantra. He did not give, any pranayama. He did not do Shakti Pat. Okay, victory is yours. He didn't even say, shut up, Arjuna. Okay, you had so much time in the forest, you should have asked me then. Why are you asking me now? But when a sincere question was asked, he continued to answer. And so we have these 18 chapters of the Gita. So whatever be the profession, and I understand that one can get very caught up in one's own profession, including Jyotish.
Yeah.
But whatever it is, it's a limited identity and we are here to serve. We do what we can with a spirit of worship, and we also pursue the knowledge of that which will set me free.
Fantastic.
But my question is, how in Bhagavad Gita, it's Krishna says we should only pray to him, and he's the ultimate, God of everything, and we should not pray to any demigod, right, or semigod. So how come when we do mantras, right, we all like there's powerful mantras that address like Shiva, right, and Shiva, as I understand, as a person, is under, right? So there's the ultimate God Krishna. There's Krishna avatar, right, who was born, but there's the ultimate Krishna who is above all. And as I understand correctly, Krishna divides into Shiva and Parvati, right? That's the feminine and male form of them. And if you do a mantra to Shiva, is that kind of is that acceptable per Bhagavad Gita, right?
Yes.
It's sort of one of those things that's very hard to find anywhere.
Yes. I'm so glad you asked this question. It's a bit controversial, but I'm very happy to answer it. So people who follow ISKCON, and particularly if you have picked up a translation of the Bhagavad Gita from ISKCON, then they present this, that Krishna is greater than everyone else. Okay. If you go to other sampradayas, so I'm understanding that you are familiar with other lineages, other teaching traditions within the larger canopy of Hinduism, Sanatana Dharma. If you go to Shakta, people who are Devi worshippers, they will say Devi is superior to all other deities. If you go to a Shaiva Sampradaya, the ones who recognize Shiva as the ultimate deity, they will say Shiva is superior to all of them. So now the question is, who is superior? Because there is no one objective enough to tell you who among these are superior. And the answer is that none of them are superior and all of them are superior. Okay? Because the whole understanding of Ishta Devata as a medium for us to be liberated is an integral part of the culture. That whoever is my Ishta Devata. So for you, you may be given mantras to chant for Shiva. And if indeed you resonate with Shiva, Shiva can help you break free from your cycle of bondage. So all I'm saying is, do not buy into this argument that one deity is superior to another. Yes, they have different functions, and yes, they can be prayed to for different reasons, but one deity can be prayed to for all reasons also. There are enough and more saints who have done that and who have proved time and time again that it's their devotion that matters. So it's like if you and me, go to watch a play and you want to draw my attention, then my hand is resting on the handrest, and you just quickly tap my little finger to draw my attention. Now, do you need to shake me up to draw my attention? Not at all. You can just tap my little finger. You can pray to any devata, and you can invoke the grace of the entire being that is Bhagwan. And so in the Bhagavad Gita itself, when Bhagwan is saying that I come again and again as an avatara to restore dharma, then how can these people say that Krishna is superior to another deity? It's not correct. But I can understand that they may be a product of their times. They wanted more people to be more devoted, and so they started to say all these things. But whenever in doubt, we always go to Vedas, and particularly Vedanta, and look at the consistency across the Shastra. And there clearly, what is God is this entire name of worlds, names and forms. And then if you're looking at Krishna, he has a limited form. You can still blow him up and say that, oh, he pervades the entire lokas. But all the lokas are also manifest forms. So what is it? What is superior than all of this is the isness, that is you. That is the basis of both manifest and unmanifest. And the pursuit of Vedanta helps you to discover that you are the limitless. So that's how we want to approach this conundrum and this controversial question of which deity is more superior than the other. Okay, the beauty of Sanatana Dharma, Hinduism, is that there are many sampradayas and we can all coexist. As long as you don't step on my toes, I will not step on your toes. And that's that. And we can have mutual respect for each other because our behavior is guided by dharma. I cannot degrade you or humiliate you just because you believe in Shiva and I believe in Vishnu. Okay, this would be ridiculous. I would violate the basic tenets of dharma in trying to prove that one deity is superior to the other. And that's not correct.
Okay.
Right.
Oleg.
So when we do those mantras like Om Namah Shivaya, right, and Vishnu Namah, any of those, it's not that we are sort of going under God. We're still praising a form of the same God, right? Is that what we're saying? Of the same divine manifestation, right? So when in Bhagavad Gita it says, "Do not, put anybody higher than me, anybody below me." What does Krishna mean? Does he mean like when people, I guess, make an idol of some deity and they see that as the ultimate God? Is that what the reference is to, I guess?
No, no, no. See, like I said, I think you are referring to the translation by ISKCON, and that's why, this
Yes, yes,
coming up.
yes.
I would
Uh-huh.
suggest you look at another translation by Swami Dayananda Saraswati. Maybe Sonal can provide the link.
Yes.
So when he says that, you also have to see what came after and before in the Bhagavad Gita. So what the verse that I had mentioned in my talk, that if you reduce what is unmanifest and changeless to a limited form and to a changing form, then those people don't know and they are covered by my yoga maya. So he is not saying that don't pray to other deities. That is an interpretation. Because if that was the case, then how can you get results by praying to Ganapati? How can you get results by even praying to Yakshas, to Ganas, Shiva Ganas, and so on, to the yoginis? You would not get any results if that was true. So we go with evidence here. And when he says that those who pray to other deities, you have to see the next few verses. He will say, the ones who recognize Vasudevam Sarvamiti, the one who recognize that all forms are my forms, where I am not a form, I am the formless. So ultimately, we want to get to the nature of Bhagwan that cannot be negated, that is not even because during Pralaya, during this final resolution, none of these deities are there. Everything is all going into unmanifest. So then, if indeed Krishna is all powerful, why will he say, I come again and again, during different, whenever dharma is on the wane? So I would just say, study the Gita properly. And because this niggling doubt will be there, right? So study, look into the verses before and look into the verses after. And with the help of a guru, look at the consistent message that is of the Gita. And then I think you will be blessed with all the grace of the Gita.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I think you've cleared so many years of inconsistencies and
Oh,
confusion, because there's so many people out there who can't explain it, and it's kind of the subject that everybody avoids because it kind of gets into this, spiritual politics in a way. It's like my God is better than your God, even inside of Vedic knowledge, right? So thank you so much. Yeah, this was a blessing for sure.
Oleg,
And I'll watch.
feel free to join the classes in August. I think,
Sure, yes.
yeah, you will find it a real eye opener for sure. So, and there's also, I want to talk about this book, but since we are on the topic of Pujya Swamiji, Dayanand Saraswati ji, Hom Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. It's a thin book, and it talks, I think in some it's kind of like a nuance. In some ways it tackles this thing about Bhagwan, and what it means. So it's a super thin book, but it is such a fantastic book, and it's named Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Right, Swamiji? Yeah, she knows. So anyway, thank you all very, very much for being here, and thank you, Swamini ji, most importantly. So for giving your blessings and being here. And so we log off now. And yeah, until next time. Thank you.